All right, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, it's time to talk a little bit of sports, and we welcome back my buddy, former ESPN radio talk show host here in New York, Jared Max. Hello, Jared.
Hey, Steve. How are you, buddy?
Good. What's going on?
I'm just trying to figure out how many empty seats there are going to be around Major League Baseball this season. With all of these $100 million contracts going out there. Steve, I honestly, I thought we were past this a little bit. I started to think maybe about it in the last year. Maybe we're advancing as a sports society because it just seems, I don't know, maybe you want to talk about separation between a 1% and the rest of the, but when you just look at the numbers that are going out, what it costs to pay these players, and the number of empty seats, well, there is a correlation, and I don't know where we go from this. I don't know what teams are thinking, but it's certainly going to be an interesting time as you look for, Jacoby Ellsbury's getting $153 million for 7 seasons, and boy, that's a lot of bucks.
It is.
Hal Steinbrenner, the Yankees owner, had insisted he wanted to put, $189 million to be a full team payroll.
Right.
And it doesn't seem like that's going to be anywhere near there. And, I mean, you've put on Yankees games. You've been to the Bronx in past seasons. It's as a Yankees fan, it's kind of embarrassing to look and see all those empty seats in September baseball games. That means something, and they're empties for a Yankees.
They're very expensive, absolutely. And Seattle, see the Yankees. The Yankees, I guess they feel they need to pass it along, but the Yankees make a ton of money from television contracts and radio contracts. But Seattle, I don't know where they make their money from, and I don't know how they're spending all this money on Robinson Cano and what that'll mean for ticket prices. But you're right. I thought, now look, I'm a free market guy, and I don't have a problem. And to me, owners, if owners are willing to pay this, then pay them. And I don't know what would move somebody to give Robinson Cano $225 million at his age in that market when you haven't been to the playoffs. He's not to me, do you think he's the marquee player that's going to fill that stadium? I don't.
No, I don't. I don't think Robinson, I mean, look, people might say the trajectory on his career is on the up. Well, I don't think it's on the up for a 10-year contract.
No.
Not even close.
No, and I don't even think Granderson with the Mets. I guess the Mets had to do that. I mean, he has hit like 80 home runs in the last 2 years, so I could see that. He's always a home run threat. But these guys are getting contracts very long for their age, and even Beltran. I mean, Beltran, 88 RBIs, 24 home. I mean, it's not these.
Beltran done with the Mets.
I know. It is insane. It really is insane.
I see a stat, Steve. I was looking at this. I think it's on from Bleacher Report. Of the 48 contracts that have been written in baseball that are over $100 million, there have been 48 of them. Take a guess how many of those have been completed.
Wow. I don't know. Tell me.
Just a quarter of them. 13
really?
Out of 48 contracts.
Wow.
So when you see these kind of big, there have been some bad ones. Mets fans certainly can think of a couple of rough ones. Yankees fans as well. I mean, A-Rod worked his deal with Texas. This deal with Cano reminds me of. You remember when they used to say? I think it was George Steinbrenner who was saying, "Why did Tom Hicks go and give him all that money?"
Right.
That changed the game. And I wonder if now all of a sudden this changes the game again. Steve, you and I, we're just a couple of schlubs who are getting to talk about this. We're not in the multi-billionaire club.
Yeah, we're not in the multi-millionaire club either. We're not, or the millionaire club.
Let me ask you, have you ever overpaid for something because you felt you just had to have it, and maybe you had to have it before your friend got it, and you could get suckered into, and you're like, boy, why did I?
Yeah, but that might have cost me $50.
Well, right, and $50 to you and I.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
So that's how I think maybe sometimes this becomes a thing of,
true.
yeah, well, let me. Like I'm thinking of that Seinfeld episode when the rich guy from Texas is betting Kramer
at the airport on arrivals and departures. Yeah,
right. That type of money,
Yeah. Well, we're talking to Jared Max here on the Steve Malzberg Show. We only have 2 minutes left. Let me ask you, Torrey. And Cox and La Russa, all three of those managers going into the Hall of Fame. Pretty wild.
Really cool that it happens on the same day. I really like that. I know a lot of talk, Steve, George Steinbrenner did not get in, but George will eventually get in. I'm very happy for Joe Torre on this. And Steve, I know you wanted to talk baseball, but
no. We could talk football real quick.
Yeah, we'd be remiss.
What a Sunday, huh?
I can't. I'm a Vikings fan. If you
Vikings and Ravens, 5 touchdowns in the last 2.5 minutes.
This is the life of a Vikings fan. I've had my heart ripped out, and I felt like I don't know if I've ever suffered one like that. And sure enough, no, because there were never as many points scored in that little time, or 6 lead changes in the fourth. But yesterday, 90 touchdowns scored, an NFL record on a Sunday. You get Matt Prater with a 64-yard field goal. But again, for me, Steve, 64 yards in Denver, that's like
I know. But still, it's the first time it's been done even in Denver. So
I get it. But on the show, on the Biggest Loser, they don't go and weigh them on the moon, do they?
No. But with everything, and I love watching these games that take place in the snow and the cold weather.
It makes me feel like I'm 8 again, and I'm going to come inside and take off like my jeans and see roast beef red legs.
Right, and my boots and my toes have to go on the radiator to get warm, to thaw out. And finally, I just lost my – and where was I? With my son at the Knicks game, and I'm grateful that we had the seats because they were great seats. It was a great time. But what a disaster for the Knicks.
Which New York coach will be around longer, Mike Woodson or Jason Kidd?
I don't. Kidd to me is a disaster. Woods at least has more gravitas. Hey, we'll do it again for longer, and we'll make it semi-regular if you like, my friend.
Sure, man.
Always great to talk to you, Jared Max, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show.